It's Wednesday, November 8th. In the headlines, in local news, a state of public emergency declared in St. James. In business news, Pepsi-Cola Jamaica opens a new production facility. Regionally, Barbados launched initiative to curb decline in literacy. Internationally, pressure growing over U.S. support for Israel's war against Hamas in Gaza. And in sports, an update on semi-finals of the CG United Regional Super 50. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Brittany Clark. A state of public emergency has been declared in the entire parish of St. James. The announcement was made by Prime Minister Andrew Holness while speaking at a press conference held at Jamaica House on Wednesday.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the assessment of the security forces that the situation in St. James merits this response and the use of emergency powers. I'm sure that that is not in debate.
The Prime Minister says he grieves with the parents, friends, and family of the victims of crime.
But we also give resolute assurance to the people of Jamaica that we will not wilt, we will not resile in the face of terror.
The Prime Minister says legislations are being reviewed to give them more teeth. He told attendees that criminals must know how serious his administration is.
The penalties should be much higher than they are for the possession of illegal weapons. And so we will amend the legislation to remove any ambiguity or lack of clarity. I have given the directive to the Minister of National Security and the Minister of Justice that the amendment must be done before the end of the current session of Parliament. In other words, it must be completed before Christmas.
This latest move by the security forces and the government follows the killing of 2 primary school students in Salt Spring, St. James on Monday evening. Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson says the prevalence and negative consequence of organized crime is the reason behind his advice that the public state of emergency be declared in St. James.
We've been arresting these criminal terrorists and violent offenders and disrupting and prosecuting criminal gangs and gang members. We have seized over 180 illegal guns in St. James alone, representing 30% of the country's total firearm seizure, which currently stands at 608 firearms seized since the start of the year. We've laid 916 firearm-related charges against 841 persons within the first year of the passage of the new Firearms Act.
He is asking the public for their assistance in the fight against crime.
The public, as always, can contact us by calling the JCF tip line at 811, police emergency at 119, or Crime Stop at 311.
The government is encouraging persons to sign up for the social pension program, targeting persons who are 75 years and older. According to the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, qualified persons are those who are not currently in receipt of a pension, overseas or locally, or any other retirement, old age or disability benefit, or regular income, and are not living in a government institutionalized care facility. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Colette Roberts-Risden, told JIS News that the Ministry has, so far, reached 50% of the targeted 30,000 persons. To register for this benefit, persons may visit the parish offices of the Ministry island-wide. They will be required to complete a social pension application form accompanied by their tax registration number, TRN, proof of age in the form of a birth certificate or a valid passport. The Jamaica Defense Force, JDF, is conducting training and live firing exercises in and around the parish of St. Catherine until Friday, November 15, 2023. In the media release, the JDF says training exercises will be conducted in the following locations: Twickenham Park Gallery Range, Green Bay Range, Old Shrimp Factory, Fort Augusta, Caymanas Bay, Hill Run, Old Cotton Factory, and JCF Fibua Village. The JDF is advising residents that there is no need to be alarmed by the presence of the soldiers. However, they are asked to secure livestock until the end of the training and also not to interfere with and/or move security flags and notifications. In the event that unexploded ordnances or paraphernalia are found, please report it to the JDF headquarters at telephone number 876-926-8121. We end the local segment with some good news. Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett has set a new target to welcome 250,000 visitors out of the United Kingdom, UK, and Ireland. This will be an increase on the high numbers last seen in pre-COVID times. This follows on the heels of Jamaica being the #1 Caribbean destination among Brits last year.
Putting Jamaica as the #1 destination for the UK and Ireland visitors. We have, at World Travel Market, established a new target. As you know, we're always reviewing our KPIs. And so the new target for the UK and Ireland is now 250,000 to be achieved by winter 2025.
Time now for the business report with Danita Rodney.
PepsiCo Jamaica on Tuesday inaugurated its multi-million US dollar production line 9. The expansion, which was completed in just 8 months, has reportedly bolstered the company's production capacity and expanded its workforce. Speaking at the ribbon-cutting ceremony, Prime Minister Andrew Holness lauded PepsiCo Jamaica's investment, noted that it may prompt competitors to follow suit, potentially leading to further industry growth.
I would like to congratulate the management and staff of Pepsi Jamaica on this remarkable and bold leap forward as this facility increases production capacity by 60%. There is no doubt that this is a game changer, and I'm sure that other competitors are looking on and saying, we need to make similar investment. And that's just good news for me.
Now for your market updates. In foreign exchange trading for Tuesday, November 7, the US dollar sold for an average of $156.82. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $114.05. The pound sterling traded for $190.50, and the euro sold for $170.57. In JSE trading, the JSE index advanced by over 1,171 points. The junior market index advanced by over 1 point. The combined market index advanced by over 1,106 points, and the All Jamaican Composite Index advanced by over 342 points. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 96 stocks, of which 39 advanced, 44 declined, and 13 traded firm. Stocks advanced for Access Financial Services Limited, Virgin Paints Jamaica Limited, and Cargo Handlers Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, and Barita Investments Limited. Trading firm were Derrimon Trading Company Limited, Epley 7.50% preference shares due 2024, and Epley Caribbean Property Fund Limited SCC. The overall volume leaders were Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with over 5 million units, Carreras Limited with over 4 million units, and First Rock Real Estate Investment Limited with over 2 million units. In regional stocks in Trinidad and Tobago, the mutual fund market did not record any activity. On the Barbados Stock Exchange, zero securities traded. In regional business, a new set of investors are eyeing Barbados to open a new bank, which will give support to innovators, small business people, and bolster those areas finding it difficult to get financing. Managing partner of the holding company, Kristen Briggs, who was in Barbados for meetings, told the Morning Report about the plans.
what we're looking at doing is building a bank that will help a lot of the infrastructure, the people of the island of Barbados. It would offer traditional banking services, but it would offer a community or a small bank feel where customer service is a first and foremost one of our top priorities, to offer services that have sometimes been underserved in the community, where we want to take some of the bigger banks and what they do and how they do it, bring it down to a community bank, but yet still large in size, and offer these services to everybody on the island to try to really bring prosperity to some of the people that may have been underserved in the banking business.
With this bank offering products and services, not just to your everyday citizen, but to your sole proprietors that have that good idea, where there's a lot of potential, but for one reason or another, maybe they struggle with getting that upfront capital. Those are the type of people where they have that good idea we're going to be ready, willing, and able to invest in to really help obviously build out the bank, but build out the strong community sense of relationship here on the island as well. And the last thing you had asked as well was the name of our bank. We're still in the process of getting everything approved. We've submitted it to CAPO, and then we've submitted the rest of the documents to the central bank as well. We'll save that for the grand reveal once we get everything approved and tied up with a pretty bow.
In international business, U.S. stocks rose with the S&P 500 and NASDAQ notching their longest streak of gains in 2 years, as a retreat in the U.S. Treasury yields buoyed mega-cap growth stocks, while investors sought more clarity on interest rates from the Federal Reserve.
The Dow ticked up almost 0.2%, the S&P 500 added nearly 0.3%, and the tech-heavy NASDAQ climbed 0.9%. Helping boost stocks, the benchmark 10-year Treasury note yield, which declined for the fifth time in 6 sessions on expectations the Fed is done with its rate hiking cycle. Adam Coons, Chief Portfolio Manager at Winthrop Capital Management, said the Fed could cut rates by mid-2024, citing signs of weakening consumer demand.
The consumer has really tapped themselves out. You've seen savings rates depleted. You've continued to see credit card usage increasing, and then compound that with the fact that you're seeing delinquency rates for consumer credit start to tick up. There are now more and more signs that the economy could roll over. And so that is pushing the thesis that the Fed could end up having to cut rates sooner than a lot of investors anticipated.
The pullback in yields Tuesday helped lift mega-cap growth names such as Microsoft, up more than 1%, Apple, which climbed 1.5%, and Amazon, which gained more than 2%. Other movers included Uber, which rose more than 3.5% as the ride-hailing firm projected fourth-quarter adjusted core profit above estimates. Shares of software solutions provider Datadog surged 28% after raising its forecast for annual adjusted profit and revenue. But energy stocks fell on Tuesday as crude prices dropped more than 4% on demand concerns, hitting their lowest level since late July.
In market data for oil prices remained under pressure on Wednesday after sliding to their lowest in more than 3 months in the previous session, slipping further on concern over waning demand in the United States and China. Brent crude futures dipped 8 cents to $81.53 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate crude lost 20 cents to $77.17. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Benita Rodney.
In regional news from Trinidad and Tobago, the Ministry of Labour is hosting the 2023 annual review meeting of the Commonwealth Canada-Caribbean Seasonal Agriculture Workers Program. Representatives from 9 Caribbean countries have assembled in Port of Spain to discuss the organized movement of foreign workers to meet the temporary and seasonal needs of Canadian agricultural producers. More in this report.
Every year, hundreds of people from the Caribbean make the journey to Canada and take up employment in the Seasonal Agriculture Workers Program. Canada's Director General of the Temporary Foreign Workers Program notes it's essential that everyone involved in the seasonal work feels contented in the program's prosperity.
I do not take these meetings lightly, as our discussions and our decisions affect thousands of workers that make the trip to Canada every year to help support our food security. They count on all of us in this room to represent their views and interests.
Minister of Labour Stephen McClatchy points out the Trinidad and Tobago government has reaffirmed its commitment to develop the agriculture sector with an investment of 1.4 billion TT dollars. He further notes the Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Fisheries and the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service are eyeing the agriculture sector for business opportunities for young people.
This is an indication that the agricultural sector of our country is well on its way to yield food security, which can further be developed by the various workers on the farm program, who, upon their return to our shores, can transfer their knowledge and even the techniques, technology, and processes that can take our agricultural sector and create a sustainable sector.
Canada's High Commissioner to Trinidad and Tobago, Arif Kishani, states some of the economic benefits of the program, but points out there are also challenges.
We must ensure that workers are well informed, well prepared, and treated fairly when abroad. Our government and the organizations involved must continue to focus on worker welfare, including health and safety, fair wages, and cultural integration.
Canada's seasonal intake of Caribbean workers has been ongoing for well over 50 years. Karen Cozier-Phillip, TTT News.
An initiative intended to reverse the decline in literacy in Barbados has been launched. It's the Barbados is Blooming initiative and involves establishing mini libraries at community centers across the island. Trevor Thorpe reports.
The Barbados is Blooming initiative is about making literary material more accessible to people. Minister Ishmael expects it will benefit a wide cross-section of the population.
The first mini library is being installed here at the Parkinson Resource Centre in the Pine, St. Michael, and I am happy to announce that there will be similar installations at various community centres throughout the island, with an aim to reach all sectors of the Barbadian population and being adamant that there should be inclusivity. The ministry team is purposeful in their interventions to ensure that no one is left behind. Whilst we are cognizant that the mini library is a new concept in Barbados, the initiative is designed to distribute thousands of free books to various communities. In so doing, residents will not have to leave their communities to access books, as they will be literally on their doorsteps.
And before cutting the ribbon to declare the project open, the minister said its impact could be far-reaching.
The ministry's vision is that this initiative will be the impetus for much-needed empowerment within our communities. In fact, we have conceptualized this as a likely foundation for the formation and or revival of reading clubs, which will have the knock-on benefit of ensuring the sustainability of these mini libraries. Through its various agencies, the ministry commits to offering those reading clubs technical and financial support. And I am confident that our various partners who are here with us today will also pledge similar support.
Director of the Massey Foundation, Dawn Lane, called it a defining moment for Barbados.
We believe that a balance must be struck between the instant gratification that the digital age offers and the lasting enrichment which the pages of books can provide. As the Massey core values dictate, we must practice love and care. That's one of our values at Massey. We must promote growth and continuous improvement of our youth. We need to let this be the basis on which we collaborate with parents, teachers, guardians, and custodians to encourage a literate society.
The project has a cost of $125,000, and when completed, 15 mini libraries are to be established across Barbados. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
In Belize, inclement weather over the weekend forced the closure of schools across the country. It followed the passage of a weather system over the region that brought with it approximately 10 inches of rainfall since Friday. News 5 spoke with Chief Met Officer Ronald Gordon concerning the weather being experienced.
We had an area of low pressure, a broad area of low pressure that moved over Central America during the weekend. That system started affecting us from as early as Friday. Before that, of course, we had the frontal boundary that produced some rainfall. And then that system began affecting us on Friday with intense showers and thunderstorms across the country. For the most part, the showers and thunderstorms and rainfall have been concentrated over the central parts of the country, that is the Belize and Stann Creek districts, and extending into the inland areas as well. Rainfall totals based on our network of automatic weather station range from about just around 2 inches in the extreme north and south, but to a very high of about almost 10 inches in the central parts of the country, particularly in the Stann Creek Valley area, and also extending into the Hummingbird Highway, Middlesex, Hershey, and those areas. We saw almost 10 inches of rainfall since Friday from the system.
U.S. media is reporting that President Joe Biden has asked the Israeli Prime Minister to agree to a 3-day pause in fighting. That's to allow for the release of Israeli captives. While the White House is not confirming those reports, U.S. officials are publicly disagreeing with Israel more than they have since the war on Gaza began. Al Jazeera's Patty Culhane reports.
A clear sign outside of the U.S. Capitol of Congress's support for Israel on the 30-day anniversary of the October 7th attacks. And perhaps even clearer on the inside, where the House voted to censure the only Palestinian-American woman elected to Congress, Rashida Tlaib. The reason? She posted this to social media. Some Jewish groups said it was a call to wipe Israel off the map. She explained it was a call for Palestinians to have equal protection and freedom of movement.
But Palestinian people are not disposable.
In an emotional speech, defending her calls for an immediate ceasefire.
The cries of the Palestinian and Israeli children sound no different to me. Why? What I don't understand is why the cries of Palestinians sound different to you all.
And while the Biden administration has called for humanitarian pauses and not a ceasefire, they are starting to push back publicly on Israel. On the possibility of Israel controlling the security in Gaza, a no.
The president maintains his position that a reoccupation by Israeli forces is not the right thing to do.
On reports that some want to push Palestinians into Egypt, another no.
We are not engaging in any situation in which Egyptian land would be leased. Forced relocation is not something that we are looking at or is on the table or a policy that we support.
But on Tuesday, the administration reiterated that they don't believe Israel is violating international law by bombing hospitals, UN-protected schools, and refugee camps. But the administration is facing growing political pressure at home.
I think there's been a lot of disappointment, particularly among young voters, but also, as you mentioned, Arab voters, Muslim voters, progressive voters, Black voters, of the handling of the situation. Many, according to polls, I think about 66% of Americans and 80% of Democrats have expressed support for a ceasefire.
All voters Biden knows he'll need if he is going to be reelected, and the polls show he could pay a heavy price for continued collusion with Israel. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera, Washington.
In sports, the semifinals of the CG United Regional Super 50 is happening on Wednesday at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy, where the home side will come up against South American rivals, the Guyana Harpy Eagles.
The undefeated TNT Red Force have been sublime since their first match on October 17th with great all-round performances. The team boasts of several veterans and a few younger faces led by the informed Darren Bravo. The exquisite left-hander is second on the runs table and will play a crucial role when they clash with the Guyana Harpy Eagles in semi-final 1. Keon Otley, the opener, also knocked on the West Indies selector's door, scoring 259 runs from his 7 matches played. In the bowling department, Yannick Carrier and Sunil Narayan are tied for top spot on 16 wickets, and both will be crucial in defending any total set by the Red Force batters. As for the Guyana Harpy Eagles, they have had periods of distinction over the past 3 weeks. Shifrin Rutherford, their talisman all-rounder, has been aggressive, scoring 248 runs, hitting 16 sixes. While the left-arm spin of Gurukesh Modi was economical, it was Kevin Sinclair who took the most wickets thus far with 14. Head-to-head, TNT won 4 of the past 5 matches by huge margins. This year, the Guyana Harpy Eagles went down by 114 runs, and it was Carrier who proved to be the main effector with bat and ball. While some of these stats may state the Red Force will go in as the favourites, cricket is won on the day. The showdown begins in Turuba at 1 p.m. Eastern Caribbean Time.
That's news on PBCJ. You can follow us on social media at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.